All right, welcome to the Sports Mashup number 82, October 19th, 2022. Probably going to upload this late night on the 18th, though, just to, a little early upload for everybody. We'll start in the NBA, where the season is beginning Tuesday night when we're recording this. The season is underway. You got the, the Sixers and the Celtics, and then it's the Lakers and
Warriors,
yeah. Lakers getting a opening night game after their season last year is hilarious, but not surprising, right? I mean,
then they have these issues already.
Yeah, with Russell Westbrook and among other issues. Dennis Schroeder is out 3 to 4 weeks. Surgery to repair thumb ligament Monday, and then Russell Westbrook also being held back by hamstring issues. So, in terms of guards for the Lakers right now, it's Patrick Beverley, other guys
Westbrook,
are there.
He played tonight, but how did they wait till yesterday to get this surgery done on Schroeder?
Yeah, I don't know. I get the sense that they're probably going to lose by 40 tonight anyway.
I'm just saying, you just signed him a month ago, and then you wait till the day before your first game to get him surgery.
Yeah, I guess better late than never is probably what they're thinking. But they're the type of team that probably needs to get off to a good start, you would think. And it's going to kind of be difficult with some of these injuries. And the fact their roster outside of LeBron and Anthony Davis, not that good.
There was a odd boost for tonight's game. It was for LeBron, Embiid, and I want to say Steph to all score 20-plus points. I almost just put money on it just because I figured that was a gimme since LeBron's missing all these guys. He's getting 20. Steph's probably getting 20, and then Embiid should get 20.
Yeah, I'll say this about the Lakers. I mean, their lineup, if Westbrook can't go tonight, is what is it going to be? Kendrick Nunn, Patrick Beverley, Lonnie Walker, LeBron, and AD. I mean, that's bad. It's really bad. So, I don't know.
Have the NBA games started yet?
Yeah, as we're recording, it's 35-33 Sixers. 8 minutes to go in the second.
So, yeah, that won't probably show at all anymore. But now there's one for LeBron to score 40-plus points, have a rebound assist. Anthony Davis, 11-plus rebounds. Lakers over 100.5 points, and Lakers plus 6.5. Or the Warriors, Steph to have 30, Steph to make 5 threes, Draymond to have 1 block, and the Warriors to win. I don't know about that. But then there's one for Klay Thompson over 15.5 points, Draymond 7 plus points, and Anthony Davis 1 3.
It's not bad.
That's plus 475. So.
But the Lakers on paper are not a playoff team. I think they'll probably make the playoffs just because they didn't make it last year and you'd think they'd bounce back. But on paper, in my opinion, this is one of the worst rosters in the conference. LeBron's still good. AD's really good when healthy, but he's not healthy that often. Westbrook is not a very good player anymore. He's fairly average. Beverly is what he is, which is just plays his role really well. And outside of that, Kendrick Nunn's a pretty good player, but man,
yeah,
it's a bad roster.
Westbrook, his role might change this year with a new head coach. Maybe they'll let him actually run the floor a little bit more.
I think it's going to depend on how much LeBron and Anthony Davis play, too, because if Westbrook's playing without them for a long time, like he did in parts of last season, that's a really bad basketball team.
Yeah. I just think if you have all those guards, you have Beverly and Schroeder healthy, you let Westbrook run because you have guards to back him up.
Probably so, yeah.
But then you had a late contract extension here. The Rockets and guard Kevin Porter Jr. reach a 4-year, $82.5 million extension.
Well, this kind of brings up the point of the rookie extension deadline being when it was. And you had DeAndre Hunter got one. Brandon Clark with the Grizzlies got one. Nasir Little with the Blazers got one. And then Porter got one with the Rockets. That was all right before the deadline. And then obviously, guys that got them in the offseason were Zion, John Morant, RJ Barrett, Darius Garland, Tyler Hero, Jordan Poole. The ones that didn't sign extensions, there's a couple of interesting names on here from the 2019 class. Kobe White with the Bulls, not that surprising. Jackson Hayes with the Pelicans. Rui Hashimura with the Wizards. Cam Reddish with
That's
the Knicks.
That's the guy from Gonzaga, right?
Yep. Cam Johnson with the Suns. I'm not surprised they didn't do it. I wish they would have. And still, these guys will all be restricted free agents next summer. PJ Washington with the Hornets, Matisse Thybulle with the Sixers, and Grant Williams with the Celtics. None of those guys got rookie extensions.
Who is the Nick?
Cam Reddish, which obviously drafted by the Hawks and then traded for.
Yeah.
I think Cam Johnson is one of the bigger names on that list. It's a little bit surprising, I would say, for a lot of people. Probably going to start for the Suns this season with Jay Crowder not being on the roster. So,
and I mean, Kobe White's like the third string point guard.
Yeah, he hasn't
Lonzo's out.
Yeah, they got Lonzo, they got Ayo, they got Caruso. If you look at guys that can play both, at least those three, and Kobe White can do both as well. But yeah, I mean, not surprising that they got the deal done with Kevin Porter Jr., which obviously his career got off to a weird start. He was in Cleveland, right? He was in Cleveland, and then the whole thing went down, and then he ends up in Houston. I believe that's what happened.
Oh, I mean, that's
some sort of locker room
thing. Just over. It's like $20.75 million a year.
Averaged 15, 4, and 6 last season, 16, 3, and 6 the year before that. Didn't play that many games, but he's definitely fit in a lot better there than he did in Cleveland, because I think there was a whole locker room thing that went down, and then he ended up elsewhere. But
that's all these guys, the rookies, their first year was the bubble year.
Their first year was the year that the season got shut down, right? Because it was 2019 draft and then 2019-20 season when March 2020 happened was that seaon. So it was the bubble playoff year.
Yeah.
But they played the end of the regular season in the bubble as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the NFL. Trade going down. The Panthers traded wide receiver Robbie Anderson to the Cardinals for 2024 6th and 2025 7th, which people are going to be like, that compensation is absolutely nothing. But the coaches for the Panthers pretty much kicked him off the field during the game last week. And
he was sitting there yelling at him. He was sitting by himself on the bench, mad that he didn't have a target.
He's making a lot of money. The Panthers had to get rid of him. I don't see how he's worth more than that, to be honest, at this stage. And the Cardinals may be a little bit desperate now with Marquise Brown likely to miss 6 weeks with a foot injury. And they did activate DeAndre Hopkins after his 6-game suspension. But, get another target in there for a Cardinals team that's, 2-4 right now? Just a really slow start. A lot of heat on Kingsbury.
Robbie Anderson changed his name this year. He took the Y off and made it IE.
That's true, which did throw me when I looked it up.
But yeah, I mean, so now with Brown out, I mean, Robbie Anderson is their number 2 receiver, and then you got Rondell Moore and AJ Green still there.
Yep, and
which AJ Green hasn't really done anything all year, but
no.
Rondell Moore's been getting targeted, but with Hopkins back, his numbers are going to drop.
Yeah.
Then I had read an article earlier today from Deshaun Jackson. He was on not the Pivot, the other podcast with Pac-Man Jones and those guys, saying that there was 4 teams he would want to come back and play for. 1 was the Eagles, 2 was the Packers. Then he said he would like to play with Lamar, and the 4th was the Rams. But he signs with the Ravens, hoping to be a deep threat for them.
The Ravens have pretty much every game they've played this season has either been a game where they probably should have won and blew it, aka the Bills game and the Giants game from this week, and they almost blew it against the Bengals. So, I mean, anything to boost their offense. I don't know how much he's actually going to do, but
I mean, I don't see how this hurts them.
Yeah, I don't think
now you have him, Bateman, was it Delaney?
Duvernay.
Duvernay, and then Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least you have a guy who can take the top off the field.
Which they had that with Marquise Brown last season, and they traded him. So
yeah, so you're getting a veteran who knows how fast he still is, but he can still probably take the top off the defense.
Yeah.
Him wanting to go to the Eagles was a bit of a stretch because, let's go to an undefeated team who drafted me and who's undefeated. There's no room for him in that receiving core.
Probably not, no.
Because, I mean, who's he going to take snaps away from? It's not going to be A.J. Brown. It's not going to be Devontae Smith.
Quez Watkins.
Who's their other one I'm missing? Their other receiver.
They got that Quez Watkins fellow.
That's not even thinking. I thought they had another decent named.
I don't think they do. Zach Pascal.
He was the next Colt.
Quez Watkins is their number 3.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm thinking of then.
Yeah.
Where's the Ravens game? Or I'm looking for the Eagles, not the Ravens.
I can't think of anybody they've had in the last few years.
Well, they had Rieger.
Yeah, traded him.
Maybe I was just thinking of those. But, I mean, you would just take away from Quez Watkins, basically. So, yeah, I don't know there. But, and then announced today, the NFL and Amazon announced that they will have a Prime Video game on Black Friday, starting November 24th, 2023 at 2 p.m. Central. No idea on who will be playing at that game, but there will be a Friday game after the day after Thanksgiving.
Now, does that mean they're only going to do 2 games on Thanksgiving, or are they still going to do 3?
That I don't know.
I don't like this, I have to say. Black Friday is a college football thing.
It's a weird Friday game, yeah.
Black Friday is a college football thing. It's a high school football thing here, at least.
I wonder if this is like those Thursday games aren't going to be a Prime Video game, so they wanted a Prime game that week.
Maybe. I will say this. This Thanksgiving and Black Friday, it's a good thing they're not doing it for this one, because that weekend there's a lot of things going on in sports. You have the NFL games on Thanksgiving. You have the college basketball stuff all week with Feast Week. You have the World Cup, the U.S. playing Britain, or England, I guess I should say. And you have college football rolling on towards the end of the season. So it's a good thing they're not doing it for this one, because there's a ton of things going on during that week in sports this year. So week 6 recap.
Thursday Night Football, the Commanders beat the Bears 12-7. The Commanders sneak out a win. Mooney almost won it for the Bears. Did drop it, but it was also close to even if he would have had the ball across the goal line. If he did catch it, the corner did a great job of making contact once he touched it and pushing him out of bounds to begin with.
Yeah, this is a predictably boring game. I think we all saw this score coming.
Yeah. And didn't Wentz also get hurt?
Yeah, Wentz is out for 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah.
Heineke's starting against the Packers.
Which is he's going to throw for 304 touchdowns. We'll get to that. Boring game. I mean, Justin Fields almost won the game for the Bears with his legs, because God knows he has no time to throw, and when he does throw, it's usually not accurate. I was very stunned at the inaccuracy of Wentz. I guess he had a hand injury or something, but he is so inaccurate, and Fields most of the time is too. But very startling, the inaccuracy of the quarterbacks in this game. That was my takeaway.
Yeah.
Falcons, scrappy, sneaky, solid team. Beat the Niners 28-14. They took control right from the get-go. I think they had, a 14-0 lead in this game. So no Cordero Patterson, no problem. Mariota looks pretty comfortable and good there. Arthur Smith, probably an underrated coach to have this Falcons team where they're at right now and just kind of –
their rookie running back played well.
Yeah, winning games that they probably shouldn't or are predicted to win. But this is another one of those, and the Niners are – the entire NFC West is inconsistent. I don't think the Rams are that good. They're 3-3. The Seahawks are 3-3.
The way the Falcons are playing, they could win the NFC South.
The South and the West are both looking pretty bad, and the North too. If you take away the Vikings,
I mean, we'll get to more of the South here in a little bit.
But luckily for our teams, the NFC looks horrendous right now. So,
yeah, but so does my team and your team.
Yeah, but the NFC being as bad as it is should help.
And then you had the Patriots beat the Browns 38-15. Is Zappy the real deal?
I mean, he looks better than Mac Jones did early this season. I guess you could take that. The Patriots seem like they're kind of starting to get back to the brand of football they wanted to play from the get-go, and it just wasn't working. Mac Jones was not playing that well. Their defense didn't look great early, but it seems like they're starting to figure it out. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they play against the Bears on Monday night. I think that's a game that Belichick can – Belichick against younger quarterbacks or inexperienced quarterbacks is like almost an automatic win.
Yeah, and Belichick tied Hollis with 324 wins for second all time, and Shula sits at 347. Hollis was a Bears coach, so Belichick could move into second by beating the Bears this coming Monday.
That would be fitting, and that gives me a definite reason to pick the Patriots, even though I may or may not be picking against them on the spread. I still think they'll probably win the game. The Jets, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but I guess it's a new world. The Jets beat the Packers at Lambeau 27-10. The Packers looked absolutely lost in all phases of the game. Jets' defensive front was elite, as well as elite rookie cornerback Sauce Gardner. They dominated. Packers didn't even look interested in playing. They didn't have a chance from the get-go. Their offensive line was horrendous, on top of the fact that Rodgers wasn't playing that well.
I literally started watching this game, and like 3/4 way through the fourth, I had to switch to the Colts game because I got tired of the announcers constantly talking about Aaron Rodgers' thumb.
Yeah, I'm sure the thumb is bothering him. He still made some really good plays, but also the fact that he had like no time to throw, and the Packers' offensive line was very bad. Like probably the worst performance by their offensive line under LaFleur, I would say.
The announcers did go with what you said, though. They needed to get Aaron Jones the ball more.
Yeah, and they didn't do that, and it's kind of surprising that they haven't done that.
But what were your thoughts on what Sauce Gardner did at the end of the game?
Let him have fun, I guess.
For those who don't know, he somehow got a cheese head and walked off the field wearing it.
Yeah, whatever. They won the game. That's great. I know the Jets are looking much better. They're obviously still a very young roster. I think Jets fans are probably getting a little ahead of themselves when saying, I saw something that said the Jets are a top 3 team in the AFC, and then this quote about how the Jets did what good teams do, which is beat an inferior team. And I think it's kind of hilarious that they call the Packers an inferior team, because in the preseason, you look at the two rosters, there was an enormous gap, and I still think the Packers will be a better team than the Jets 2 months from now. But I'm
guessing Sauce Gardner gets a fine for that.
Yeah, if he does. He does. I think most Packer fans are more concerned with the fact that their team looked literally disinterested to play at home.
Yeah. Then you had the Colts beat the Jags 34-27. The Colts outlasted the Jags. It was a duel. Didn't start till almost close to halftime, and then all the scoring picked up in the second half.
Yeah, Matt Ryan looked like a real NFL quarterback for the first time as a Colt, so congrats, I guess.
He was dishing around to everybody.
Yeah, he hit Alec Pierce late, and then the Jags
almost made me lose my fantasy because of that.
The Jags have kind of come back down to earth in the last couple of weeks with losing to the Texans last week. So the Jags have been a pretty bad team within their own division for a while now.
Yeah, and this week with the Colts playing the Titans, that could, kind of sway who's going to win this division.
Why did the Colts and Jags play both of their games in the first 6 weeks?
I don't know, but they played week one, right?
I think was it? Yeah, it was no.
Week 1 or week 2?
No, it was week 2 because the Commanders played the Jags in week 1. Yeah, so, week 2. Vikings beat the Dolphins 24-16. The Dolphins are 0-2 in games that Tua doesn't start. They're now 3-3 after this loss. They started the season 3-0. They lost that game to the Bengals, and they lost to the Jets. Then they lost to the Vikings. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this result. I mean, the Dolphins really didn't even have a quarterback, so.
No, but I think Tua might start this week.
I am assuming he'll start this week. Yeah, he was questionable for this game, so you got to think that he's close to being back.
Did Teddy play this whole game?
I thought it was Skylar Thompson.
But Teddy I thought he played a little bit.
I thought he was out.
I thought I saw him in pad, suited up.
Let me check. Yeah, Teddy did start. Okay. I think he either started or backed up, but he came in through 34 passes. So,
and then I saw Jordan Love came into the Packers game. Was that just?
That was just because it was over.
Then you had the Bengals beat the Saints 30-26. The Saints offense stalled late, and the Bengals took advantage.
Yeah, another big game for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase at the Caesars Superdome. They won the national championship there, right? So, not surprised at all. The NFC South mediocrity is still there right now.
I just think the whole Taysom Hill thing switches the flow of their offense. It's not like it was when Sean Payton was there. Like Andy Dalton was playing a pretty good game, and then you just take him out for a couple of plays and have Taysom Hill at quarterback. Then Andy Dalton has a run back on the field for like a third down play or something. So you just took him out of his whole swing he was in.
I think it's always been that way with Taysom Hill there. I feel like it was even that way in some games with Breeze still there.
And Kamara still has not gotten a touchdown.
Like an example of that is I remember early 2020 when the Packers were in New Orleans and Breeze is taking them down the field, and then they bring in Taysom Hill for one play and he fumbles. Like I feel like that's happened all.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it's different than when, like now he's coming in and taking like the first down and second down snap, and then Andy Dalton's coming in for the third down to throw a ball.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Or when Peyton was there, Taysom Hill was coming in for third down to get a couple yards or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. The Giants beat the Ravens 24-20. The Giants defense comes up big with a late interception. The Giants now 5-1.
That was a horrible pass from Lamar at the end of the game.
That's another week where Lamar and the Ravens as a whole make a bad play or bad decision to lose a game. Happened against the Bills as well.
Yeah, not much to say on this one, though Daniel Jones is playing well.
Daniel Jones is a quarterback that you can win with. I think everybody's always known that. I don't know how much you can win with him, but I feel like the fact that he's pretty much had a different offensive coordinator / head coach in like every season. This is his third head coach.
Yeah, and now you're getting a guy who came from the Bills.
Yeah, a guy who knows how to call plays for a quarterback that can move like Josh Allen. And the other thing is, Dable never really ran the ball with a running back when he was in Buffalo, when he was calling plays. It's a little different now. You can use your running back because you have Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, he didn't have like an elite back.
Yeah. So it's working. I mean, I don't know how far they can actually go, but this is kind of –
especially with the receiving core having the injuries and then the whole Kenny Golladay thing.
But if you can play defense like they can, I mean, their front's pretty good. And I will say also, how bad of a head coach was Joe Judge? Because, my God.
Yeah.
Man.
And then you had the Steelers beat the Bucks 20-18. Pickett starts it. Trubisky comes in to close it out.
Kind of just like the same thing with the Bucks the entire season almost. I mean, they haven't been able to consistently score points, Brady doesn't look the same. I think you could say the same thing about Rodgers. I think the Bucs and Packers are fairly similar right now, except the Packers look even more lost, move the ball less. But it's weird.
Brady's throwing the ball to Leonard Fournette a ton, which is weird. You would think you would use one of your scat backs like Rashad White or who do they have? The guy who used to be the scat back for the Bengals.
Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah, I mean, you got both of those guys, but yet he keeps dumping it to Fournette. I don't know if this whole divorce thing's weighing on him or what's going on, but he's definitely not looked the same all year. I mean, he looked decent against the Cowboys week 1 and then has been declining.
I thought the Chiefs game wasn't that bad. He didn't really look the same, but they moved the ball easily.
That was a game missing 2 receivers.
Yeah.
And your 2 best receivers.
Yeah. The Rams, this is a really boring game. The Rams beat the Panthers 24-10. Stafford didn't look that good to me. Threw a pick 6, but they beat the Panthers because the Panthers are bad. And P.J. Walker completed 1 pass beyond the line of scrimmage, I think. So. And
the Panthers were up early, right?
Yeah, it was like 10-3 or 10-7 or something because he threw a pick. I think it was 10-7 because it was 7-3. Then Dante Jackson got the pick 6. And then it was over. I mean, the Rams aren't good to me. I don't see it.
No. And I mean, the only game I was able to watch, I watched the Colts-Jags game and then the Bills-Chiefs game. But then you had the Seahawks beat the Cardinals 19-9. Geno's getting dubs. And then Kyler, no TDs, but rushes for 100 yards on 10 carries. So, I mean, he's trying to move the ball, but got to get it in the end zone.
A lot of heat on Cliff Kingsbury. A lot of heat.
Maybe getting D-Hop back will change things there, but
I don't know. I mean, the Seahawks, pretty impressed with how they've played.
Yeah, and getting Robbie Anderson. So who knows what their offense is going to look like in the next coming weeks?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
I don't know when their bye week is. Because then getting Robbie Anderson after a bye week, getting him more in the offense could change things.
Everything looks hard for the Cardinal offense. And then when they do start to move the ball, they turn it over or something happens with a penalty or something. It's not looking sharp. It's the opposite of the way they started the year last year because they were, 6-0, 7-0 to start last year?
Their bye week's not until week 13, so Robbie Anderson better learn the offense quick.
Yeah. The game that everybody was looking forward to, the Chiefs and the Bills, I think these 2 teams are quite clearly the best in the AFC, probably in the NFL. You had the Eagles in the mix there as well, but great game. I think not as much scoring as the playoff game last year, but the Bills defense came up big late. Von Miller was so good in this game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, did you not hear Tony Romo? And then they called him the closer. He closes games out.
I mean, he made so many big plays, and that's why you bring in a guy like that, and that's why you give a guy like that a ton of money.
But then I saw today they had a guy, as you were there yesterday, came off a suspension and made like I don't know if it was an Instagram or Twitter post about him being able to come back, and then they released him, the Bills.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
It was like a stud linebacker or defensive end, and he came off suspension and they released him.
Huh, I didn't see that.
Then you had Sunday Night Football. You had the Eagles beat the Cowboys 26-17. Cooper Rush finally goes down, and Eagles prove why they are undefeated.
I know it's Cooper Rush. I know he didn't look good in this game, but the Eagles' defense is really good on all 3 levels. Like, their secondary, I wouldn't want to face them. Their corners, they have Avonte Maddox, Darius Slay, James Bradbury.
And Darius Slay barely gets talked about, and he is a top-ranked cornerback who's always been underrated.
Yep. And
he played his first however many years in Detroit, and I think that's why. But once he got out of there, and he didn't go to the Eagles right away, right? He went.
I thought he did.
For some reason, I thought he went to like Seattle.
I think he went straight to the Eagles. Could be wrong. Let me check here.
I thought it was like the midseason or whatever. He went.
No, he went straight to the Eagles.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, the Eagles roster is really good, and everybody knew that coming into the season. I didn't know if they would perform to the capability of that roster with how good that offensive line is too.
And then having up front, having Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox in the middle of that.
On top of Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, Josh Sweat, Kazir White, Hassan Reddick. I mean, it's a load. And don't forget they got C.J. Gardner-Johnson for like nothing in a trade before the season started. It's one of the best rosters in the league, and maybe the best defense on paper.
You can't run in the A gaps on those two.
Yeah, and this is a team that is without Derek Barnett is on IR. That's the guy that gets you 6 or 7 sacks a season as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really good team. There's a reason why they're 6-0, and who knows when they lose. I mean, I don't know who they play this week, but let's see. They got the Steelers, but I think they have a bye, maybe. Yeah, so they got a bye week. So 6-0 into the bye, and they have the Steelers. So we'll see. Monday Night Football, nothing much here. 19-16 Chargers in overtime. Broncos primetime nightmare for the entire country is almost over. One more game left for them in primetime, thankfully. Justin Herbert threw 57 passes, didn't throw a touchdown. I think that's the most ever in a game without a touchdown. And then Dustin Hopkins hurt his right knee.
Was this knee or his hamstring?
I thought it was his knee because he had a knee brace on the sideline.
Oh, I fell asleep at halftime. But
it was his Michael Jordan flu game.
His first field goal or extra point or whatever, I think it was a field goal. He grabbed his hamstring, and then his next one, he came out and he like dropped to his left knee and then was grabbing his knee. So I didn't know which one it was.
Jordan flu game for Hopkins, goes 4 for 4, makes the game winner, and Russell Wilson will have an MRI for the hamstring injury. I think.
I thought your old buddy J.K. Scott was going to come in and kick some extra point or field goals.
Yeah, I wouldn't have hated to see that. Terrific guy, J.K. Scott. Sucked for the Packers, but I'm glad he's on a team again. Let's get into golf.
Yeah, last weekend you had the Zozo Championship. The winner, Keegan Bradley, won $2 million, shot 15 under. And this weekend you have the CJ Cup in South Carolina, defending champion Rory McIlroy at the Congaree Golf Club in Ridgeland, South Carolina.
It's a good field this week. Very good field for an October event.
And then also PGA Tour announced 4 events added to elevated $20 million tier of payouts. It'll be the Waste Management Phoenix Open, the RBC Heritage, the Wells Fargo Championship, and the Travelers Championship will be among 13 elevated events with at least 20 million purses in 2023.
It's good news. That is good news. Yeah, but the CJ Cup this week, good field. Like I said, good field. I mean, a lot of the big names playing. So,
and that getting the Wells Fargo or the Waste Management is just going to make that much bigger. Like, I mean, that's already an exciting tourney to watch. With what is it? Is it 17, the par 3, or 16?
16, because 17 is a drivable par 4.
Yeah, so I mean, 16, that place is going to be jam-packed, roaring.
Yep.
And then with that much money on the line, there's probably going to be some shanks.
Should be good. Good.
Round 4 of the Waste Management could get interesting.
Definitely. It was actually the site of the jump starting of Scotty Scheffler learning how to win, because that was his first win. Was the Waste Management, and then after that he started to really dominate, obviously winning the Masters, and finished the season terribly, losing the Tour Championship, but whatever. College hoops preseason top 25 is here.
Yeah, number 1, North Carolina, 2, Gonzaga, 3, Houston, 4, Kentucky, 5, Kansas.
6, Baylor, 7, Duke, 8, UCLA, 9, Creighton, 10, Arkansas.
11, Tennessee, 12, Texas, 13, Indiana, 14, TCU, 15, Auburn. TCU they're becoming a powerhouse down there in the Big 12.
Definitely. Very good football team. 16, Villanova, 17, Arizona, 18, Virginia, 19, San Diego State, 20, Alabama.
21, Oregon, 22, Michigan, 23, Illinois, 24, Dayton, 25, Texas Tech.
And the season begins November 7th, so a couple weeks from now, less than 3 weeks away, we will have college hoops to discuss.
And is that the game we talked about? Is November 7th? Is that the opening game that they're doing it on the ship?
I thought that was later that week.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
I think it's a Veterans Day thing.
And who's in that?
Gonzaga and
was it Kentucky?
Gonzaga, Michigan State. November 11th, so it's the Friday of that week.
Because we were talking about that because Michigan State played North Carolina one and it got all wet. The floor got moisture on it, so you and me were wondering if it was going to be docked where it wasn't wavy and all that. It would be interesting.
Yeah. Let's get into quick baseball here.
Fernando Tatis Jr. had second surgery on his left wrist. And then there was a thing, Stephen Voigt, he did early blocking drills before a game he wasn't catching the day before retiring. And then Aroldis Chapman missed a team workout before a playoff series. And then the quote on the bottom was, "No amount of money or success will ever be a substitute for character. This is addition by subtraction."
Oh, I mean,
basically saying Aroldis Chapman, screwed the Yankees out of being their closer, and the catcher for the A's said, "I'm still going to work out hard even though I'm retiring tomorrow."
Yeah, Aroldis Chapman sucks now anyway. Let's just be honest.
But then you had the NLDS series. The Phillies beat the Braves 3-1, and the Padres beat the Dodgers 3-1. And currently, as we're recording this, the Padres are playing the Phillies, and it's in a commercial, so I can't tell you what the score or anything is.
I think it's 0-0 in the third or something like that. So, in the American League, the Yankees beat
You're correct.
Yep, the Yankees beat the Guardians. They had 2 rain delay or postponements, I guess, in this series. They were supposed to play yesterday. They ended up playing Tuesday night, and it helped the Yankees because they were able to start Nestor Cortez. For some reason, Cleveland didn't start Shane Bieber. That seemed like a dumb decision, but whatever. The Yankees went.
Garrett Cole was going to pitch, right?
No, it was supposed to be Jamison Tyon because Garrett Cole pitched Sunday.
Oh.
And the Astros beat the Mariners 3-0, despite the fact that Jose Altuve, I don't think, had a hit in that ALDS. So the Astros are probably going to beat the Yankees, but who knows? They'll play. I believe it starts tomorrow.
I did see that Zach Greinke went to this game or one of the games against the Astros.
And it had to be game 3 because it was in Seattle.
Fishing hat and a Bass Pro with his entire family. No one even recognized him or came up. He was able to enjoy the game. I think it was the long game, like the 18-inning game.
Yeah, because that game was in Seattle, so it was the third game.
Yeah, so he was able to sit there for 18 innings with his entire family and not get bothered.
That's a great thing, yeah.
But he's always a guy who flies under the radar to begin with.
Yeah.
Players of the week.
I'm gonna go with your guy, Harrison Bader, New York Yankees. Didn't really do much other than 3 homers in the series, in the 5-game series. Went 4 for 14, which is a 286 average, it's not great, but very notable. 1,214 OPS. So, yeah, people talking about that trade now a little differently. I think it's fine for both sides, in my opinion. I don't think Harrison Bader playing would have won the Cardinals the series against the Phillies, but, good for him.
He's 4-14 with the 3 home runs How many strikeouts did he have in those 14 at-bats?
I think 2, but I'm not sure. Which 2
think,
feels low, but I thought that's what I saw.
Why Ethan's looking that up? I took Phillies DH Bryce Harper, 10 for 23, 6 runs, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 2 walks. He did have 6 strikeouts.
It was 2 strikeouts, and it was both in game 2. So, not bad. Kind of surprising. Didn't get any walks, though, so that didn't help, I'm sure.
Is Carpenter back?
Yeah, he was pretty much not doing anything the entire time. I think he was sitting on the bench, probably still somewhat hurt, but he did bat today. I saw that. I think he struck out, but he's having a bat today. So, all right. The NHL notes here real quick. The Minnesota Wild, surprising 0-3-0 start. They've allowed 20 goals in those games. 20 goals in 3 games is startling. 7, 7, and 6. Rangers scored 7. Kings scored 7. Avalanche scored 6. So it's not like they're facing bad it's not like they're facing bad teams doing this, but still.
I'm guessing the goaltender who started game 1 started game 3. If their main goalie started all the first 3 games, you might want to put in the backup.
I thought Fleury started all 3 games, but I'm not sure. Yeah, Marc-Andre Fleury looks cooked. I think he might have only started 2, though, actually. Yeah, he started 2 games. Right now, Marc-Andre Fleury has a 776 save percentage and an 837 goals against. So, yeah, that's not good. And then
I'm surprised it's that high, though. So he must have had a lot of shots on net.
He allowed 11 goals on 38 saves on 49 shots, which that's not that many for 2 games.
No.
But, yeah, they look brutal. I mean, just think about this stat. Kirill Kaprizov has 5 points in 3 games, but he's a -8. Like, that is just brutal. That's, like, just so bad. And then their backup goaltender, because they traded Cam Talbot to Ottawa, and they got Philip Gustafson in return, and he came in for Fleury, so he has credit for 2 of the losses. He has an 860 save percentage. He allowed 8 goals on 57 shots. So
he saw more shots.
Yeah. The Coyotes are 1-2-0, but they won in Toronto again. They've gotten a point when playing against the Leafs in Toronto in every game since 2002, which is surprising. I think the schedule was a little bit different some like 10 years ago, but now they're going there every year. So, but either way, the Coyotes have allowed 124 shots in 3 games. So, yeah, they're still bad, but they did win in Toronto last night.
Yeah. And then forward Tyler Bertuzzi out 4 to 6 weeks for the Red Wings. They're off to a 2-0-1 start.
And most of that is due to the fact that David Perron and Oscar Sundqvist and Ville Husso, 3 players the Blues were like, go ahead and go to Detroit. They traded 2 of them, but yeah, those guys are off to great starts. Good for them, but
it's nice to see the Red Wings, coming back.
Yeah, you always need the original 6 teams to be good. Like the Rangers are back to being good. The Bruins, I think, are probably not going to be as good as they usually are.
Whoa,
this
they
season.
Started out pretty good till tonight.
Yeah, they still could win tonight, 6-5 after 2 periods, but that's a lot of goals to allow.
When I looked earlier, it was 2-0.
And then obviously Toronto and Montreal are, Toronto's good, but Montreal is a little bit of a disaster. And then
is Chicago one of the original
Chicago, 6? Yeah, Chicago's a disaster too. But the original 6 right now, it's pretty much Toronto, Boston, New York, and those are like your only hopes. And then Detroit's not bad, but Montreal and Chicago are bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ovechkin, Alex Ovechkin is his name. He recorded his 159th multi-goal game of his career last night against the Canucks, surpassing Brett Hull for second place behind Wayne Gretzky as 189, which I could see Ovechkin having 30 more multi-goal games. Why not?
Yeah.
He's got 2 or 3 years in him, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years from now, he could still just sit in his office in the power play and just shoot the puck and still score.
I think his minutes on the ice will be lowered.
Yeah, no doubt. College football. Yep.
25.
All right, number 1 and 2 are the same. Georgia, number 1, Ohio State 2. Tennessee, after their big win, they're up to number 3 from 6. Michigan is up 1 to 4, and Clemson swaps with them and drops to 5.
Which, by the way, did you see there was video after they won of Peyton Manning and Morgan Wallen walking into some bar in Tennessee, and Peyton goes on stage? Well, because Morgan Wallen gets on stage and starts singing.
I didn't see that, no. Have to check it out.
There's a lot of big country names there. Kenny Chesney was at the game. I believe Eric Church wasn't there. But there were some big country stars and stuff there. You had Pat McAfee and Peyton on college game day together. That was fun. Number 6, Alabama drops 3. Ole Miss up 2 to number 7. TCU up 5, number 8. UCLA up 2 to number 9. Oregon up 2 to number 10. Your Ducks are back in the top 10.
Yep, I'm a half Ducks, half Illini guy now, suddenly.
Oh, I know, you don't even say it.
Number 11, Oklahoma State. They are down from 8. USC loses. They drop 5 to 12. Wake Forest up 1 to 13. Syracuse up 4 to 14. And Utah is up 5 to 15.
Penn State drops 6 to 16 after getting destroyed by Michigan. Kansas State stays put at 17. Illinois up 6 to 18. Kentucky up 3 to 19. Texas up 2 to 20.
Cincinnati stays at 21. North Carolina unranked to 22.
That's your team right there.
Still don't want to touch them in betting. NC State is down 8 to 23. Mississippi State's down 8 to 24. And Tulane unranked to number 25. Interesting.
Yeah, James Madison did not stay in the top 25 very long.
Nope, they lost immediately, so good for them. All right, let's do the betting picks. A couple different things this week. We don't have a top 20 for golf anymore with the NBA coming back. We have 2 NBA spread picks to go along with the NHL money line continuing, and then the rest is the same. So
I went 9-9 last week. I now sit at 542 and 426.
I went 12-8. I had 2 golfers correct. Finally, I'm 522 and 422.
I was 1-1 in NHL, 5-3 in college football. Which ones I lose? I had Kansas +9 over Oklahoma. They lost by 10.
Yep, I had Oklahoma -9.
I had that again. I had BYU +1.5 over Arkansas. Arkansas beat the crap out of BYU.
Yeah. I had Arkansas.
And then I had Bama -7. And then I was 3-5 in the NFL.
Yeah, I was 3-5 in the NFL. I was 1-1 in the NHL, 6-2 in college football. I got all 3 of the ones you just mentioned. I was the other way. And then I went 2 for 6 in golf because I had Tom Hoagie, top 20. He finished tied for 9th, and I had Victor Hovland, top 10. He finished tied for 5th.
Yeah, I had my winner. I had Victor Hovland to win. And then the rest of my guys were tied 25th, tied 45, tied 45.
And Bryce Harper just hit a home run, by the way, if you're watching that. I spoiled it for you. But
yeah, what an asshole.
Yeah. I didn't actually think about that, but,
It's probably coming right here on a O count.
I was just I saw him rounding the bases, so I don't know what pitch, probably that next pitch. All right, let's do the CJ Cup from Congaree Golf Club in South Carolina. Who you got?
To win, I have John Rahm +900, Sungjae M +1800, and a shout out to our boy Kevin Kisner, not far from home, +15,000.
That is a large number, and I didn't even scroll down far enough.
And he hit it to right center.
It was hit nicely. Yeah, I didn't even go down far enough to see that number for Kiz, but shout out to Kiz. His form's been pretty rough the last 6 months or so, but hopefully he comes back.
I mean, he had a decent President's Cup.
He's all right. Yeah, not as good as I expected.
I said decent.
Yeah.
And I think this is his first tournament he's played in since.
Yeah, it is. To win, I have Justin Thomas plus 1,600, Jordan Spieth plus 2,200, and Sam Burns plus 2,800.
Top 5, I have Jordan Spieth plus 450. Top 10, Justin Thomas plus 150.
Top 5, friend of the show, Max Homa plus 330. And top 10, Sahith Theegala plus 330.
No Tom Hogue this week?
No, I decided to go against him. He's one for two with me. I picked him the last 2 weeks, so
that's because you stole him away from me.
Yeah, I did. All right, let's do the NBA picks Wednesday. Really the opening night for pretty much everybody else after tonight. So picks against the spread.
I have the Nets -3 over the Pelicans and the Cavs +2.5 over the Raptors.
I'm going to take 2 road dogs, 2 teams that probably aren't as good as their opponent, but scrappy, keep it close, maybe even win. I'll take the Knicks +5.5 at the Grizzlies and the Bulls +6.5 at the Heat. Why not? And then there's 3 NHL games tomorrow for Wednesday, so I guess you just pick those.
Pick 2.
Who you got?
I got the Avs -215 over the Jets and the Blues -145 over the Kraken.
I got the Flyers +255 at the Panthers. The Panthers have a good record, but I don't think they really played that well. And the Flyers are looking better than they were supposed to. So early season upset, why not? And then, I'll take the Blues -145 at the Kraken. I think they have a large advantage over them. They dominated them last season.
I didn't want to touch that Panthers game just because the Panthers line, I think, was like -315.
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, I'll just go the other way, see what happens. And we'll see. All right, let's do college football Power 5 conference games.
ACC, I have Pitt +2.5 over Louisville.
I have Miami -9 against Duke.
Big 12, I have Oklahoma State +6 over Texas.
I have Baylor -7.5 against Kansas.
Which I don't really understand the whole, because what's Oklahoma State ranked now? 11 versus 20, and they're the underdog.
Huh.
And then Big 10, I have Purdue +2 over Wisconsin. I mean, it's at Wisconsin, but Purdue's 5-1. I really don't know how they're not ranked. Their only losses to Penn State week 1.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be getting close to being in the rankings. I'm going to go back to the Rutgers -3 against Indiana.
Pac-12, I have Stanford -3 over Arizona State.
I'll take Oregon State -24 against Colorado. Colorado's historically bad, so why not?
Yeah, but I remember I wrote it Oregon State 2 weeks in a row, and they screwed me over. So I was like, nope, not doing it.
I'm going to take a flyer on them.
SEC, this is another shocker. Number 7 in the country, Ole Miss at LSU. I have Ole Miss +1.5. Somehow they're the underdog going to play LSU.
I'm going to take Mississippi State coming off a loss +21 at Alabama. Alabama's vulnerable. I think they'll win the game by a couple touchdowns, but I think Mississippi State can cover that number.
And then our 3 primetime games, you have number 14 versus number 5, Clemson. Clemson is a 13.5-point favorite.
I'm going to roll with the orange. Syracuse is playing really well, +13.5. I'll take that action.
I'm also taking that. I believe Clemson will win the game, but not by 2 touchdowns.
I would agree.
Second one, number 9, UCLA versus number 10, Oregon. Oregon, 6-point favorite.
People might say this is a big game for Chip Kelly, little revenge game, but because UCLA is finally good under him, but the Ducks are going to roll. This is not going to be close. I'm guaranteeing that. The Oregon wins this game by 2 touchdowns at least.
You heard it here first, folks. Guaranteed. Yep. I'm also rolling with the Ducks. I'm going with your team. You don't have 2 teams. You have 1. Rolling with your team.
Well, I support Illinois from the side. I feel like given my stature in the Illinois basketball program, I feel like, the football team, I got to support some when they're playing well,
Last primetime game, number 17, Kansas State versus number 8, TCU. TCU is a 3.5-point favorite.
The Horned Frogs last week showed me that they can win anything. They can win any kind of game. Oklahoma State completely blew that game last week.
And that was a shootout. What was the final 43-40?
Yeah, I'm going to take TCU minus 3.5. I think they're gunning for that Big 12 regular season title, and I think they can do it.
Yeah, Kansas losing their quarterback kind of opened the door for them.
Yep.
I'm also going with TCU. But that's another reason I don't know how Oklahoma State is the underdog against Texas.
Yeah, Texas is playing pretty well, so who knows?
I know, but I mean, as well as Oklahoma State played against TCU.
That's fair.
NFL. Thursday Night Football, you have the Saints versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a 1-point favorite.
Well, with all the heat on Kingsbury and the Cardinals and just the inconsistency from the Saints not really being able to close games out a lot of times, I'll take Arizona -1. Why not?
I'm going to take the Saints +1. I do think this is at least a decent Thursday Night Football matchup.
Probably, yeah. I would classify it as that, especially compared to what we've had, it's like the best matchup of all time.
And with D-Hop, when he was suspended, was he able to practice, or did he only be able to start practicing Monday?
I'm not sure about that. I would think that he probably would be able to practice, but then again, maybe not. I don't know.
I didn't know when you're suspended if you're still able to go to team functions and everything. So I mean, that could if he wasn't able to, that could put off whole timing and everything with Kyler Murray. So yeah, I don't know how that would work there.
Yeah, that's true.
5 Sunday games. I have the Falcons +6 over the Bengals, Browns +6.5 over the Ravens, Colts +2.5 over the Titans, Jets +1.5 over the Broncos. I don't know how that is. And then the Chiefs -3 over the 49ers.
I'm going to go Giants +3 at the Jags, Lions +7 at the Cowboys, Chiefs -3 at the Niners, Seahawks scrappy +6.5 at the Chargers, Ravens -6.5 against the Browns.
Sunday Night Football, Steelers versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a 7-point favorite.
Steelers +7. Don't care who the quarterback is.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Tua's back. I think they can win handily, especially now if Pickett's going to be out, Trubisky's back in. They didn't look very good with Trubisky.
I guess, yeah. But I don't know. Why not? I wonder when TJ Watt will be back, but it won't be this week. So,
yeah. Then Monday Night Football, you have the Bears versus the Patriots. Patriots 8-point favorite.
I'll take the Bears +8. Why not? I guess their defense not that bad, and I think Bailey Zappi will probably come back down to earth unless he actually is the next Tom Brady.
This also is in New England, though. You got to think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
And with Belichick being able to pass Hollis against the Bears, I'm taking the Patriots -8.
And Belichick's track record against young quarterbacks, yeah, I think Fields could be in for a lot.
I mean,
I could see this game being like the Lions game from a couple weeks ago for the Patriots.
They just won 39-0 and then 30 whatever to.
It was 20. Wasn't it 26-0 against the Lions?
I thought it was more than that.
It was 29-0.
29.
So they've outscored their opponents 67-15 the last 2 games. So yeah,
38-15. So.
Yeah, it's not bad. But yeah, all right, we'll see what happens. Lots of picks, lots of sports to watch the rest of the week. We'll be back with you next week for number 83, and we will see you then.
Deuces.